Next, you'll want to take your neck piece after it's set for 15 minutes or so and fold it over before you actually glue it together. This just helps it to work with it easier. Then you want to pinch it to glue it to itself, and then you can slide your fingers up along the sides. You want the two ends to come together as fairly close as you can, and this gives you your neck piece or piping. It gives it a stiffness, but it's a nice rounded finish neck piece when you get through with it. Then you want to take your roller and run across it so you know you've got a nice contact, and it gives you a nice flat finish to work with when you go to stitch this on the base of your hood. Next, take one of the pieces of skiver and trim it off at a slight angle. And starting at the base of the right eye panel, you want it just below the stitch line, and then pressing your thumb. This material is very light and flexible, and it bends very easy. As you pull it, using your thumb and your fingers, attach it to the glued area of the hood. Then trim it off just below the base of the scribe lines. Then take your thumbs and fingers and rub it in so you have a good contact. Next, we'll want to wax up another length of thread . Here we are marking the tail ends of the centerpiece for your pre-punched holes. Starting from the outside, I just run the tracing wheel inward. This will give you your hole marks for pre-punching. Then we'll take our pre-punched needle and again poke and push your needle out through the bottom and pre-punch your holes on the tail of your centerpiece. Now we'll want to sew on the neck piece. Sliding your needle up through the third hole from the end, slide your neck piece onto the needle. You'll want to come out about halfway through the width of your neck piece. This is important. You don't want to be less than halfway of the width of your neck piece. Then go back up through it a second time. And this will anchor it for you to work from. Notice how I'm holding the neck piece with my thumb and left index finger. You want the back edge of your neck piece flush with the material of your hood. Then back up to the next to the last hole. You're going in a reverse mode here. You can feel the tip of that needle coming through if you are careful when you're pushing that needle up. And then again, you'll want to make each stitch snug. Then you go through that first hole, pushing it up through. You'll want to go through this at least twice, if not a third time. You can't go back through and tighten these up after you've gone through them, so you want to make sure they're nice and tight. Take your clamps and snug up this first set of stitches. Going through this a third time just secures the end of your neck piece. Then go back up through your second to the last set of holes. This will be tight. Pull it through. Then we can tie off this main thread. Clamp onto your excess piece, and then take your main thread and go across it and underneath it. And then underneath, take your needle underneath that first stitch. And this will give you a little loop. It'll look like a backward 6. Then take your needle and go through the loop and up through that first set of holes that you originally went through. Make sure everything's tight. Then you can pull your needle through and cut off your excess, and we'll be ready to go on to stitching up the rest of your neck piece. This is also a good time to re-wax your thread. Now you can start with your next hole and continue stitching your neck piece on.